Hey guys, Sandy here, and today I am going to be scrapbooking these photos from Easter last year. Now this is the year that I did Easter piles for my family because I could not find our Easter basket. So what I'm going to be doing is kind of making this a funny layout for thanks for the piles, and I'm going to be using this stamp set and also the Extravagant Egg Die. So let's see what I can do. I went ahead and grabbed two of my 6x6 paper pads. One is the Watercolor Galaxy pad, and then one is weathered wood. I had two sheets of the 6x6 paper of the weathered wood, so I went ahead and stretched that across the entirety of my layout. Now I am working on a khaki colored cardstock, and this is the Twine 12x12 cardstock that you can find in the Brutus Monroe shop. It has a great thickness to it. It's nice and smooth. It just feels good. It feels like a good quality khaki cardstock. Now each of my photos here I am going to mat on a different color of the Watercolor Galaxy background, and I had pre-trimmed my photos so that they were the same length as this egg die cut that I had cut out in my cutting machine. I wanted something fancy on the background of the egg, so I went to my Glitter Glaze of the month, and I believe this was 2 or so months ago. The Glitter Glaze is almost finished. I've almost completely used up this tub. So what I decided to do was just take a sheet of pale purple cardstock that came in an inspiration box, and I'm just going to spread the glitter glaze on top of it, and this is going to be so that you'll be able to see all this glittery goodness underneath the egg. Now I did cheat a little bit and use my heat tool to dry this glitter glaze up, but there you can see the sparkly goodness. And I also make sure that I always use the same spatula or palette knife for my glitter glazes. It's my biggest tip. It's very hard to get all of the glitter off of a spatula or a palette every single time, so I just use the same one each time, so if it dries on there, it's the same thing and you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about getting glitter all over your palette knives. So I have that beautiful, beautiful egg now, and I'm also going to mat that just for continuity across all three of the main elements of the page. And I'm just going to kind of stagger them across. They aren't going to be completely neat. They aren't going to be completely straight. And they're not going to be like so wonky that you have to turn your head to look at the photo. And that is like my biggest tip. I would say when you want to do angles on your pages, make sure that your angles aren't so big that you feel like you have to turn your head to look at whatever you're doing on your page. I went ahead and grabbed my extra sentimental stamp set, and it has the word thanks on it. And I just started by stamping off the edge, and I put a piece of scrap cardstock underneath of it. And now I'm just going to stamp thanks all the way across, and I am using the Raven Detail ink. It is my favorite black ink. I actually used to have a different favorite, but this one has quickly taken over my favorite spot. As you can see, I did kind of mess up and not get part of the K and S, so I'm just kind of trying to line it up kind of carefully, and I stamp it in there as well. Now, I don't know why I didn't use my stamp tool because I have a 12x12 one, and yeah, I don't know why I didn't pull it out, but I didn't pull it out. What I did pull out, however, was the Petals Die, and you've already seen the Extravagant Egg Die, but I pulled out the Petals Die. I went ahead and die cut with them through my die cut machine, and as you can see, I didn't die cut like a full panel. I am not using this as a card base, so I don't need that complete edge around it. I used a scrap piece of white cardstock that I had laying around. I am taking the creamy Aqua Pigment in Heather, and I am just basically painting the entire cardstock. Now you could have painted the entire cardstock before you die cut, and then you could have had the little pieces on the inside as well. That would have been cool to maybe do a die cut inlay and then pulled the piece off so you would have the negative space. That would have been really cool. But I didn't think about that at the time, and I knew that I was going to be cutting out the flowers in the die cut for embellishments for my page. So I just make sure to get this white cardstock really coated well. And then when I flip it over, you can actually see I almost had the aqua pigment bleed through all the way from the front to the back. And in some places it did do that. The only thing that does is like I've got full complete coverage of the purple over it. It's not something you have to do. It's just how it turned out. Again, I am cheating and using my heat tool for this because I am an impatient person and I want to get my project finished. Now, normally this is something that you could do where you would work on your mixed media portions of it. Like I could have done the glitter glaze and this and set that off to the side and worked on the other part. But I did not do that because, you know, impatient. So I'm going to use some scissors here just to trim down this die cut piece. And basically what I turn this into is almost like a little cut file. So I have these all trimmed out. I'm just being careful to go around the edge. Even though I used my heat tool, I totally did not dry the entire thing. So what that means is the paper is still a little bit of flimsy, still just a little bit, not a whole bunch, but it's still got some flimsy to it. So I'm just being careful as I cut around it. However, I wasn't that careful. I ended up tearing the flower, and that's okay. We can fix it with some glue later. I'm going through the Watercolor Galaxy paper pad one more time just to see which one I want to do. And then I'm going to treat this just like I would treat a cut file when I want to back it. And I am outlining with my pencil around the edge. So I have turned my piece of paper over, and I've also turned over the die cut piece. And then that way, when they are both flipped right side up, I can put the die cut piece on top of the watercolor background, and then it'll be beautiful. Now, I would recommend when you're cutting this, cut just ever so slightly on the inside of the piece that you have traced out. I did not do that. I kind of followed the line exactly, and then I had some trimming to do afterwards. However, I don't mind that. It's okay. It's okay. I would rather have a little extra trimming to do than cut the piece that I'm backing it with way too small and then have to cut out another piece. So now I'm just using my scissors to go around and trim. And I do just use this in one piece. I'm not going to go ahead and back every single piece of this die cut with a different color, although that would be gorgeous, just not the look I'm going for today. I do use some foam squares to pop up the one little edge of the flower here, and that is because of how many layers I have going on. The flower is kind of hanging out on top of the egg, so there's a lot of layers underneath there, and I just want it to give it kind of a flat, level playing field. Now I am taking other little pieces that I have cut out, and I'm just kind of figuring out where I want them to be. And then I'm just going to do the same thing again. I'm going to back the cut file. It's not a cut file. I keep wanting to call it a cut file. I'm just going to back the die cut, trimming on just the slight inside of where my pencil line is. And on this time, I actually do that. I trim on the inside. And then I go ahead and add some more liquid adhesive and then place it on right there. And I just really love the contrast of colors here. So this bottom flower has a little bit of that deeper purple in it, but the top one has a lot of it, and I just love that. I just love the fact that these are very bright, fun spring colors, and I'm totally able to use that with our Easter piles. Because Easter piles are a weird thing, man. I mean, they are a weird thing. It's pretty shameful. It's kind of sad, actually. So every year I do baskets for my husband and kids. Every year they do not do a basket for me. It's just kind of sometimes I get an Easter basket. And this year they actually got me an Easter basket, and I had a basket and they had piles. So that made it even worse that I couldn't find the Easter baskets. I have no idea where they are. I still haven't found the Easter baskets. Even this year I just bought new ones because I have no idea where they are. I don't know if we got rid of them, if we donated them. Like, I just don't know what happened to them. And I was not having Easter piles again, especially because I thought I was going to get a basket. I didn't get a basket, but you know, whatever. There were Easter piles. So I am getting ready to create my title over here now. And I stamp out the word thanks again. And then I know I've got to figure out what my title is going to be. And it's going to be something like thanks for the Easter piles. It turns out that it's just thanks for the piles. And my daughter's big old smiley face on there makes me super happy. So I grab some of the purple sparkle aqua pigment, and I grab a water brush that has no water in it, just because it was a thin, finely tipped bristle brush. I'm just directly dipping into the aqua pigment and painting in. And I'm going to paint in with this purple color all the way across the top. And then I'm also going to paint in the word thanks down here at the bottom. I grab some letter stickers from my stash, and I'm going to create the title. And then I add a couple lines of journaling, and that's going to do it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure that you ring the bell to get notifications whenever a video goes live on this channel, and also click that subscribe button if you haven't already. I will see you guys again real soon for another video.